All right, 33 things that I learned. Let's go. Number one, always have a goal, whether that is in your job or in a hobby or whatever it would be. Have a goal. And if you're feeling stuck, then chances are you don't have a goal or you lost sight of that goal. And so always have a goal or remind yourself of that goal. Two is that everyone has a message, and chances are that the things that you feel like are out of your control are probably part of your message and part of your journey. And so try to tap more into that and see how you can utilize that maybe as a tool or something to overcome, I guess. Three, have self-fidelity. Everyone always talks about loyalty and loyalty to others, and that's so important. But if you don't have faith for, like, if you don't have faith in yourself and don't believe in yourself, and if you're letting yourself down all the time, then everything else is kind of pointless. And so you need to have that self-fidelity, because that is what helps you show up authentically. And then another thing that I learned is to pay attention to what people notice about you, whether that is, let's say, they compliment you on a skill or a trait, or even if it's something in your appearance. Take note of that, because that is a tool in your arsenal that you can utilize in the future. Number five is to build systems. So if there's a habit that you want to build or a skill that you want to improve upon, then build a system around that skill that can help you make that skill happen, if you know what I mean. Like, just like create an enabling space around that skill. Next is speak up. Oh my God, I struggle with this one so much, and I've always struggled with it even growing up, but it's so important. It is so freeing to speak your mind, and it is a skill like anything else. You just get better at it over time. Seven is choose to be confident. Like, you can choose to be scared or you can choose to be confident. And if you wake up every single day and you choose to be scared, then you're gonna be stuck there. So choose to be confident and get over yourself. Because the thing about insecurity is there's always something. Like, even if you are so obsessive about like this one thing that you're insecure about, and then you tackle it or you overcome it, you're gonna move on to the next thing and then the next thing, and it's like this vicious cycle. And so you kind of have to break the cycle, and the way that you break it is that you choose to be confident. And then lesson number 8 is to be an active participant in my life. I have always struggled with my social consumption, and I was like a passive participant in my own life, and I was kind of more actively participating in other people's lives, if you know what I mean. So that is what it took for me to cut down on my social media usage, is just that realization. And then 9 is to build good karma. So important. I know people have been saying this for years now, but I really believe in this. And like, even if you do something today and you don't necessarily see the benefit in it today, tomorrow, next week, eventually over time you will. And number 10 is family is the best. Any day that I wake up and my family is safe and healthy is a good day. And so I should just take stock in that and feel really grateful for that every single day. And then 11 is to document more. Your brain space is finite, which means that all these great memories and ideas and thoughts that you have are probably going to disappear and get replaced by something else if you don't write them down or record them, or whatever your method of communication is. Just like take stock of that and document as much as you can. Lesson 12 is that you can't be jealous and proud at the same time. Those two feelings don't exist. Like, if you're feeling super envious and very negative about the things that you don't have, you can't equally appreciate the things that you do have and the things that you have accomplished. It's just like those two feelings can't coexist. And so when you realize that, it's just a crying shame, because you've probably done so much that you feel proud of. And so it's just sad to not appreciate that because you're feeling jealous over the things that you don't have. Next is to fail quickly. I, like growing up at least, did not learn how to fail, and that made me a sore loser. And it's very important to be okay with failing. And the way that you do that is that you realize that it's okay to fail, and you fail quickly. Like, fine, you can dwell on that failure for a few days or a week, but give yourself a cutoff and learn to move on. Otherwise, you will just be stuck. 14, a sense of purpose. I've gone through so many different formulas for this. What is my purpose? Blah, blah, blah. And what I've realized is that my purpose is also something that I've struggled with a lot. And I want to help other people feel. And that is like a sense of belonging. I really believe that a sense of belonging is like the strongest emotion on the planet. And a lack of belonging is what can lead to a lot of like spirals, like feeling like an outsider, feeling lonely, feeling depressed and isolated. And all of that, like it all hinges on this idea of feeling like you belong, feeling like you are understood. And so I want to be that like very calming, very comforting presence for others, and be part of that sense of their belonging, because I really believe that that feeling is so, so powerful, and the lack of that feeling is equally so destructive. Next is that there's no shortcuts in life. Nothing is free, and if it's easy, it's probably too good to be true. And so you should have that like healthy dose of skepticism when it comes to that. And yeah, just realize that there are no shortcuts in life. And then another lesson is delusion over nihilism. I struggle with being nihilistic, almost defeatist, and I give up very, very easily. And I really think that it comes down to balancing that with some delusion, some self-belief, and yeah, like almost, yeah, just that like delusional sense of, oh, I can do anything, and trying to balance that defeatist attitude with that, I think will go a long way. And then if it's scary, it's probably worth it. As someone who struggles with anxiety, I'm always confusing anxiety with like a gut check, and oftentimes I'll like shy away from whatever is the scary option, so I'll say no to a bunch of things. But I need to realize that if it scares me, it's probably the right thing for me to do. I guess it's kind of like saying life begins at the end of your comfort zone, but for me, in a way that is more actionable, is if it's scary, it's probably the right thing to do if I'm torn between two choices. Build it and they shall come. If you're trying to build something, build it for a specific person, like someone that you know that has a name, someone that's in your life in some capacity or that you can speak to somehow, and build it with them in mind. And eventually more people like them will come and use that thing, but just have that specific person in mind and build for them. And then next one is recognizing people, like acknowledging people for things that they've done, like whether it's something they said that really resonated with you or something that they did that you felt was so impactful or helpful. Always share that. It is so easy to just say, thank you for saying that, or that really resonated with me, and just keep it simple and short, but recognize people, because it can really make someone's day and really uplift them, and you'll feel better too. All right, ego aside always, especially if you're getting feedback, like always pause and take a step back and think, let me put my ego aside. Is there truth to this? Sometimes you'll realize that the person is just bringing you down for no reason, and that just says more about them than it does about you. But if you put your ego aside and start to wonder, like, is there some truth to this? Like, can I learn something from this or improve something about myself? And then decide how you feel about it, but try to put your ego aside for just a little bit. I was talking about the importance of creating opportunities instead of waiting for things to land on your lap. And what I meant by this one was that a lot of the time we kind of wait to be discovered or for people to like see our potential, but actually most of the time you have to see it first and kind of act on it, whether that means like nominating yourself for things, applying to that fellowship or job and that master's program, whatever it may be, but like taking that bet on yourself is super important. Instead of waiting for people to take that bet on you, it's like not really sustainable and you could be waiting forever. And so try to create opportunities for yourself. And then always learn. Learning is a skill like anything else. And if you go for a long stretch of time without learning, it just gets harder to learn and to have that like attitude about learning. And so you should always try and learn something, whether it's like a small skill or how something works or whatever it would be, whatever it could be. And keep like always be learning, I guess. And then the next lesson is financial literacy. All those years of avoiding math and like hating math class and being so disengaged catches up to you, because I think, for me at least, it just made me very disinterested in anything that has to do with numbers, and it made me have a very negative relationship with money and like bad spending habits. And so I want to be more interested in that kind of thing, although it's so boring, but it's also so important. And I just want to get better at understanding finances and stocks and generational wealth and all of that, and building that for future generations. And then this idea that today I'm younger than I will ever be. The reason this was a big lesson for me is because I spent this entire year feeling really down bad about the passage of time. Like, I was so angry at how quickly time is passing and felt like my life was like slipping away. And it was only when I realized that today I am the youngest that I will ever be. Obviously, I've been a baby before, so that was the youngest I ever was. But for years, like by tomorrow, I'll be older. So today is the youngest I will ever be. And that's what really started to change things for me and see things as, no, I'm still young. I still have energy. I can still do whatever I want to do. And so I'm just wasting time by feeling negative about the passage of time. All right, my next one is eat to live, don't live to eat. For a while, like, my life revolved around breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What was I gonna have? I had an insatiable appetite. I would indulge in like huge snacks in between every meal. I would satisfy every craving I had with food, really. And I had the most negative relationship with food. And it took me a very long while to untangle that. But it can all be summed up in this idea of, like, don't make your life revolve around food and try to find a sense of fulfillment elsewhere. Like, if you look back at your day, and if day in and day out the main thing that you enjoyed about your day is like a meal, then I think you should do something about it if you can. Memories, not mementos. So again, building on like spending habits, this is something I've struggled with a lot. And I think the main thing that is creating a shift in my mind is, instead of collecting mementos, collect memories and go more for experiences versus like just a bunch of shit. And I think what really is making me turn the page is essentially a summer of like going to different thrift stores and vintage stores and estate sales and that kind of thing, and realizing that I'm just accumulating a bunch of shit that like my loved ones are gonna have to deal with one day, instead of finding them the right home and just not collecting. So yeah, mementos are not worth it, at least not for every single thing. And then make things. I think as you become an adult, you forget what it's like to make things constantly, as in like, it could be anything from like a painting or like an arts and crafts project or building something, whatever it could be, but like make things with your own hands, whether that's digitally or in analog, but just make something. You'll feel so great, and it will be a day well spent. And you'll cherish that a lot more than just buying it or spending the day rotting in front of the TV. And then lesson number 28 is this feeling of being an imposter, the more you talk to people, the more you realize that a lot of people feel that way. And then you start to wonder, wait, who doesn't feel that way? And it's usually the most annoying people ever. And so you are not doing yourself any favors by just always feeling like an imposter. Like, it's normal to feel it sometimes, but if you feel it on the regular, it's kind of a waste of emotions. And you should realize that A, a lot of people feel it, and B, try your best to get over yourself, because if most people are feeling it, then chances are the people who don't feel it are just like the most arrogant people ever, and you are not like that. So you have like no reason to feel that way. And yeah, try to occupy a bit more space and get more comfortable with yourself. And then another lesson was that everything comes to an end. There's no sense in attaching your identity to things, whether that is a job or a relationship. You know, relationships run their course, and jobs certainly run their course, and nothing lasts forever. And the more okay you are with that, the more likely you are to explore different things and to try out different things and be open to other opportunities, because everything comes to an end. And so the more we detach from things, especially things that aren't serving us, the better. Lesson number 30 is to work hard, and have a strong work ethic. Not to say like you shouldn't automate things that you can automate or like work smart, but also just like go in with a strong work ethic and always be ready to outwork the next person, because people remember that. And it is a muscle at the end of the day, like having that resilience and having that capacity to work hard, and have that like positive spirit, I think pays off. 31, wear your giggle on your sleeve. A lot of people forget how to giggle, and I think that if something makes you, like if something's funny, just laugh, like don't hold it in, because things that make us laugh and smile are like few and far between. And like if you don't do it regularly, then I mean, when are you gonna do it? Like it's like, just let it out, you know. Take it from someone who giggles a lot. It is the best feeling. All right, 32. You are, despite how hard you try, you are most likely the villain in someone else's story, no matter what. And you know what? It's okay. Like, you can't be everyone's friend. Obviously, this doesn't mean go out and be a horrible person, but it just means it's okay. Not everyone has to like you. And even if you are a people pleaser, you're still gonna hurt someone someday. And most likely it'll be someone that you care about. So that sucks. But at the same time, just feel okay with not being liked by everyone, is what I'm saying. Because chances are you're not liked by everyone. No one is. And then finally, believe that you're lucky. Just like sometimes people think that they are the most unlucky person in the world, nothing good ever comes to them, then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then the opposite is also true. If you believe that you are so lucky, good things will come your way. And if you look back, you probably remember all like these different moments where you were lucky. And so that could happen at any point in time. And the more you believe it, the more it will happen. All right, that's it.